Hi, Cornerstone, it's Scott. Today's Cornerstone connection comes from Psalm 97. Psalm 97 declares that the Lord reigns. Those are the opening words here of this psalm. The Lord reigns, let the earth rejoice. Let the many coastlands be glad. That word reigns means that God rules. He is the sovereign king of the universe. He has infinite power and authority. There's nothing that escapes him. There's nothing that he does not know or see. And he has unlimited power to do what he wants and rule and govern the world as he would so choose. But here's the thing. So many of us live as though God does not rule and does not reign over all things. We get anxious and we worry about the state of our world. We fret. We lose sleep. We think that the fate of our world rests on a single election. And that could be so far from the truth. Because the reality is, God knows all things, sees all things, rules over all things, and history is in his hands. And when we know that God is sovereign, we can rest. We can be at peace, even when it appears as though the world is spinning out of control. Many years ago, there was a man named Whitlock. His first name is a hard one to pronounce, but it's Bulstrode Whitlock. He was a man that lived in the 1600s. And he looked at the state of England and he saw a country that was in disarray. And he was fretting and worrying about his country, and he had many sleepless nights. And he had a servant turn to him and say, "Sir, may I ask you a question?" And Whitlock said, "Of course." And his servant said, "Do you think that God governed the world well before you came into it?" And Whitlock said, "Certainly." And then his servant asked again another question, "And do you think he will govern it quite well when you are gone out of it?" And Whitlock said, "Undoubtedly." Then the servant had one more question for Whitlock, and he said, "Then excuse me, do you not think that you may trust him to govern it quite well while you are still living?" And the story goes that Whitlock had no response to that. And he went to bed, or at least tried to sleep. You see, a lot of us are like Whitlock. We believe in the sovereignty of God. We believe in a God who rules and reigns over all things, but we're experiencing sleepless nights because we haven't let that belief change our lives. We don't live like God's in control. We live in a state of worry and fear and anxiety and panic. Every time I turn on my TV, I see these political ads from both sides of the aisle saying the world is a mess. Our country is unraveling. And the only hope for us is to elect such and such candidate. You see, what they don't acknowledge is there is a sovereign God who reigns. The Lord reigns right now. He is governing the world. This world is not out of his control. He knows all things, sees all things, rules over all things, has infinite power and authority to do as he will. And so we can rest in him. And so in this season, especially this political season, just keep reminding yourself, keep opening up Scripture and seeing for yourself that the Lord reigns. That he is the sovereign God of the universe. And because he reigns, we can rest.